This is the Newzchain Podcast, and today we are counting down our top 7 most inspirational questions from our recent episode.
How do you see AI shaping the future of Alima and the food service supply chain?
Well, this is something that we have discussed internally, not only for the sake of saying let's do it because it's a new thing, everyone is doing it, but from the point of view of our customers and our suppliers, like how they could benefit from it. What would be the best way we could develop something around AI and help them? So the most obvious thing that came to our mind is for order setting, right? So right now, in the moment that you have the platform, you have two ways to receive an order. One, through the e-commerce. Two, through your seller placing an order, basically internally in the system. But what happened before this seller placed an order? So he received a WhatsApp message, he received an email, he probably had a phone call, but especially for WhatsApps and emails and everything that is in text, we think that what we could do is a way in which our supplier can, let's say, take a screenshot of that and upload it into the platform, and then we can create a suggested order already done, and you avoid the time that is spending on, capturing all this information. Sometimes I'm telling you that there's orders because are from restaurants that could be, I don't know, like 20 minutes, a person just setting the order. So all that time could save and actually be used to have more prospects or to have more sales in general. So that's one of the things that could be too small and too obvious and too tactical, but it's the thing that we may start with using AI. But there's like plenty of use cases that I can imagine going in the industry. I don't know, from chefs trying to find and help with new recipes and help with, like robots or things that are programmed or programmed by different, let's say, prompts, on how be more creative on the kitchen. I don't know if maybe for suppliers receiving orders, right? Like all these virtual assistants instead of talking to an actual seller, where you don't just talk to a virtual assistant. For supply chain should be also use case that probably are being already developed. So even the fintechs and the embedded fintech solutions that we could have are also creating AI opportunities to get access or evaluate your credit resolution, or like application resolution faster, things like that. I don't know, I think are many ways and use cases, even in the side of the e-commerce, like all the pictures from the e-commerce. You don't necessarily need to spend on a photographer taking all the pictures of the products that you sell in the online store, but you can, or we could embed Alima with DALI or something like that, so they could artificially create the images exactly how they want. So I think that would be very handy for them, and all the design of the store and all that look and feel also could be generated through AI tools that don't necessarily mean an incremental cost. I wonder how, for instance, community managers could be substituted by AI, and having someone running your ads, someone creating your arts, all that, because all the suppliers and all the restaurants, they're based on food, right? And food is very visual. So all these visual AI tools and social network are becoming very, very important for them in terms of AI. So yeah, even though AI adoption in Mexico in traditional, let's say, companies, it's not having the adoption level that is having for startups are precisely the startups, the ones who are gonna start, playing the game, I would say, and introducing in the market. For instance, my dad is a heavy user of ChatGPT. He's always using all these and reading about a lot of B2B e-commerce. I think by now 80% of people in procurement teams are millennials, right? So millennials are used to buy online. I have more digital habits. So probably are also AI users that are going to start expecting some kind of solution in the AI spectrum for what they do, for their procurement process.
You said you're kind of strict, so what's the dynamic between you and your team in regards to the strictness that you can bring, to the table?
Yeah. I think it's discipline, and I'm obsessed with results and times management, but obsessed to a point that probably could be annoying for the team sometimes. In my previous experiences working in different companies or building another companies, had a previous startup before this one, more not as tech as this one, more traditional business. I really like to have scorecards. I'm obsessed with the scorecards, so I always use them on a monthly or weekly basis with the team. I think it's more on a monthly basis where you can actually have enough time to give the people to reach to a goal. So to measure that metric, let's say, is conversion versus the last month, and see how many percentage points you are up or down and why, and double click on that and have always an explanation and an action plan if it was down, and an action plan if it was up, because then you cannot go down. So that's the discipline that I'm talking about, and but that has helped me because really creates this culture where you can have people being disciplined, people being having order, seeing at the same numbers, being on the same page, because you can think you're doing well. You can say, yeah, we're doing well. You can say, yeah, we're not doing that well. What that means to us, and Jorge probably is my co-founder, he's like me in that sense, nothing is more clear than numbers, right? So we just set those scorecards and we evaluate them week over week, and we set plans. So probably if you're working with people that it's not like you, that's gonna be too much and overwhelming for them. So that's the type of thing that sometimes maybe they kind of struggle working with us. But at the end, I'm a stronger believer of that. And also in terms of time management, if I can save a minute or a second by doing something different, I'm gonna do it, because as a mother, I try to be as productive as I can from 8 to 6. So then I can be with her from 6 to 8, and then again from 8 until I go bed. But yeah, to find new and productive ways to do it without really being, like looking for productivity tips, it's not like that. It's not like I'm trying to enroll myself in productivity courses. It's not something that comes organically to me. But when I just realized that I found in somehow that if I do it in this way, I'm faster and I'm more effective, I'm just take that route. It's like it comes with my nature to be like practical, fast person, a doer, executor. So yeah, it's those type of things that I do, and I like to work with people that is like that.
You said during hiring, you try to look for people that are more talented than you, people who can challenge you to be a good leader. And that shows with Alima growing. Both you and Jorge, they have been these excellent examples of leadership within the startup ecosystem. So how do you ensure your personal growth as a leader, and what resources or practices have you found invaluable during this experience?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think the main challenge in this sense of being a founder is you don't have anyone, aka a manager, telling you you're doing a great job or giving you feedback on what you could do better. So the best thing you can have is a co-founder giving you honest feedback, and you try to action on that feedback. So that's one of the practices that I've always had. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. Like, you have to be always open to receive feedback, but also to ask for feedback. Sometimes I forget, but it's something that I try to do as much as I can, because it's the only way that you actually grow. And it could be only perceptions, but if you actually have constructive feedback in the way that the person that is giving the feedback to you is able to tell you clearly what's the impact that this action you took, and what was the consequence, the SAO model that I used to had in my previous working experience. I still use it: situation, action, outcome. It's like maybe like a practice that I try to keep following, and keep asking for the team. What else? I really like target setting. Not because there's uncertainty, not because you are a startup and you don't really have super clear goals or ways to measure or to define those goals. That doesn't mean that you don't have a North Star. That doesn't mean that you should not prioritize, right? You should always prioritize. So one thing that we have is always like a planning session on Mondays where we have really clear what are like we all obviously do the task by task kind of exercise. But the other thing that we do is, okay, what's the goal of the week? What we want to make out of this week? What's the most important thing that if it's not done, we're screwed, right? Like, this drastic, so you can always have a North Star, even though it's qualitative, quantitative, but something that is gonna tell you what you have to achieve by the end of the month, by the end of the week. I think it's super important, and always at the end you always have an incentive or something to work towards too. I think that's are some of the practices. I really like keep learning and talking with others, like peers, mentors, these type of things in both ways. I like to talk to younger people in their career. I like to talk. Actually, just 2 days ago, I talked to a brilliant Columbia graduated, and she's amazing, trying to build a new like a startup, and telling me her idea. And I always learn from these experiences because I have fresh ideas that I can even take from my own company. Or the other way around, like people that I consider can give me a piece of advice. For instance, in my case, moms that are in startups, like leading a high impact company, something like that. It's like an inspiration and a source of inspiration that I always find very valuable, because there's not too many in Mexico, to be honest, like me, that are moms that are running companies that have professional and personal goals, that sometimes time is never enough, like the amounts of hours that the day has are not enough to do all what you have to do. You always feel this guilty feeling of not being all day with your children, and these type of things that you struggle as a mother. I may not be it's not a YC group, it's like entrepreneurial community called VC backed moms, but there's not a Mexican girl over there. It's only, I think, Americans and Europeans, maybe some Latinas there. But yeah, sometimes you feel there, you find their pieces of advice or inspiration. So at the end, all that is self-growth, right? Self-development. And there's one last thing that I like to share, that from Uber, there's this, it's not a mantra, but it's like a cultural thing they have, where they say, you drive your growth. And at the beginning you can think, this is because they don't want to handle with my career growth, they are not willing to give me training. But this actually it's all the opposite. Is they are empowering you to be responsible and owner of how far you want to go. So if you want to grow, you find your own mentorships, you find your own special projects on what you want to work to develop, let's say, additional skills that you don't consider you are very strong at. You expose yourself and you push yourself to appear in public speaking or anything that you want to develop. Like, you are responsible, so you have to take control over that. And because it's very easy to blame your manager because, oh, my manager is not giving me a development career. It shouldn't be your manager, it should be you, and your manager is that person that is gonna help you and to get that closer, like faster. But you should be the one defining what you want. You should be the one finding the opportunities and exposing yourself to practice and living that opportunity and be on the stop. And obviously, it's going out of the comfort zone, but it's something that you have to do it as much as you can. In my case, for instance, is events. I don't really feel comfortable going to events or engaging with the strangers. I'm kind of extrovert, but shy extrovert. So it's difficult sometimes, break the ice. But once I'm there, I'm enjoying a lot. And I always out of these events full of energy, new ideas, networking, new connections. So I really appreciate those things. But yeah, it's always you pushing yourself to go further.
What strategies have you found most effective in expanding your customer base? Like you said, it's a huge opportunity based on the list that you have from the government. So, what have you been doing, or what do you plan to do to increase your customer base in such a competitive market?
Yeah. Well, the good thing for us is that this fragmentation is good for us because at the end there's a lot of players, there's a lot of suppliers in the market, and we're only talking about food service, right? But what if eventually we would be able to sell to different industries? For instance, we already have, and this is an actual case, a company that is experimenting with our product, but they are in the construction business. Why? Because they just want a system that is easy, let's say a software that is easy to use to generate invoices. They also want to build an online store. So they also want marketing campaigns. So all that is replicable for different industries. I know that our vision is only food service, and our vision is to keep growing there. But there's also other opportunities that probably at this moment we're still not evaluating, but for the future could be possible. Once the product market fit it's proven, which for the new model we are kind of in the middle. So we are growing customer base 50% month over month. We know there's only probably 4 months that we launched, so we're in a very early stage in this moment. But there's a lot of ways to keep growing. Like, one is continue doing partnerships with those companies that can have same clients as us. So join forces so we can reach a bigger base. The other thing is keep using these databases that are public in the government, and we can reach except they're called unit economic. No, they're called. I don't remember the name government gives them, but anyways, they're like businesses that are public listed, and you can easily get into them. And creating all those prospection automated campaigns, keep going to events and expos where the industry is. There's like 3 main events, like very big in the country. One of them is Abastur, other is Exponta. There's different events, and keep connected with key players like Cámaras and these organizations in the industry that you can, keep growing. Especially at this moment, that is more organic, is more one-on-one, is more keep talking to customers because we are still proving product market fit. Once we reach the point of, okay, we have sustainably retained for this amount of months, these customers, this means that we have product market fit, then I think we should start thinking on, okay, how we need maybe with a capital extension raise sustainable and scalable growth, and also um, what other products we can build on top of the main product we have. Because currently I just talk about online stores, I talk about invoicing systems, order management for suppliers, but also there's a very interesting space on financial solutions for suppliers. So we have thought, okay, embed a product that is gonna solve the credit needs they have in partnership with a fintech, and embedding a product, and then have a shared revenue system, business model. And then on top of that, the data that I was telling you, we're at the end of the day collating a lot of data from prices points in fresh products in different categories that doesn't exist at the moment. There's not historical databases in Mexico that can tell you what are these data set prices for prices. So we can become that information source for big players and enterprise companies that are currently looking at the Central de Abastos database, like very informal sources, not let's say digested information where they can have charts reports like in a professional and decent way. So we could also play around creating all those that, obviously with some AI solutions we have in plans as well for the future, creating or embedding AI solutions for generating orders out of WhatsApp or out of emails in the system to generate purchases orders. So yeah, there's different things that we can build on top of that, so you can grow the market size, and you can reach in the long run way more customers.
How does Alima differentiate itself from its immediate competitors, like the ones you mentioned, the tortilla sellers or Frubana, I guess, before they went out?
Frubana is actually not a competitor anymore with the new business model. It was a competitor, so it was kind of, this is off the record now, it was kind of bittersweet feeling, because I was like, and we were in the previous model when we were front to front competing with them, but us trying to get big fish and they trying to get small restaurants, I would be extremely happy because then I could eat this part of the market, right? But now it's kind of, oh, poor guys, I feel bad for them. So yeah, like we don't directly compete, because now our bet is more for sell technology for suppliers. They weren't precisely selling technology for suppliers. So yeah, and for the other big kind of competitor is Justo, but Justo is a online, they are call themselves the first and only 100% online supermarket in Mexico, okay? But they are more oriented to B2C and we are B2B. So that's the main difference. What we did is actually a partnership with Justo. Why? Because Justo internally has an accelerator for their suppliers. So as we are enabling technology through our SaaS and online stores for suppliers, we talk to them and say, hey, you have a lot of suppliers for your online store, so your online supermarket. So what if we provide those suppliers the technology that we sell, so they can become better suppliers for you, because everything is better with tech, right? So yeah, that's what we did. We did instead of seeing them as competitors because we're trying to accelerate suppliers, is how we become partners. So we are actually launching a partnership this last week with them. So yeah, that's pretty exciting because they are very big in the market. I think they're one of the most recognized startups from the last year, because they just started in pandemic, so it was the perfect timing for them This guy was previously CEO of Cabify. His name is Ricardo Beder. He's a brilliant guy, I think, and he had all the connections with VC. So raising money for him was, I wouldn't say easy because it's not obviously, but like easier than probably to others. He was very well connected. So yeah.
So, how did starting in Mexico shape Alima's development and strategy in the early stages for you guys?
Well, I think Mexico it's a country that has a lot of potential in terms of exportation. For instance, well, it's not only that has potential; like it's already very very intense in exportations. However, we think that is because Mexico is not prepared already to be a more fair market internally. So it's like you get 4 times what you that you can have exporting than trying to sell it internally. So that's one of the I don't know, maybe it's a macroeconomic example, but in general the people it's very hard worker, but at the same time the opportunities that you have as a low middle class person probably don't let you to get in touch with technology as the one probably we're trying to enable now to suppliers, because it's just education system in Mexico it's not that advanced. Public system, I'm talking about public system, which is where the majority of the people has access to, right? So for us it's an opportunity at the end because you get more people that don't really know how working with this type of technology is, but also you find a lot of people that is really eager to grow their business and they just want to make more money. Who doesn't, right? So being in a country like Mexico where things are not easy, where people it's made self, where people try to find the best way to maximize their incomes and utilities. I think it's the type of culture where we find our product or our
How did you manage to attract your first customers, and what strategies proved most effective in building trust with businesses, especially in the Horeca sector that you're operating within?
yeah. You mean building trust with the clients, right? Okay, yeah. It's crazy, and also how you like one part that is still related to the team is how you replicate yourself and teach the other person to have the same interest and curiosity about the customer. Because normally when you hire someone with a commercial profile, it's more towards the money. Now it's like, okay, I'm gonna sell because I want my commission and I want my bonus and all that. But it's not about that. It should be more about what the customer wants. How can I get more out of the customer? How this customer can increase their basket with us? How I can make this customer stay more time with us? So yeah, that's also like very interesting thing that you have to solve. But yeah, talking more about the customer, building trust now with suppliers, I think has been more organic for us. Why? Because we were suppliers. Food service industry is difficult. Clients sometimes don't pay to suppliers. Clients ask for credit to suppliers. So normally the suppliers are the one, being treated not as well. And the restaurants, they just want to sell. They just want more people showing up in the restaurant. So they have like different incentives. And I would like to talk more about how we gain trust from the suppliers. First of all, because you can talk from the same experience, right? It's like, I understand you because I was a supplier. I know how hard it is to deal with, hospitality and food service clients. they can become really cruel. They can become not good payers. So I feel you. So that's the very first time, very first thing that they connect with us very well. Like, yeah, you know what I'm living. So the second thing is do these discovery talks with them. So normally we prospect. It could be cold prospection, could be digital, in person, events, whatever. Name it. You just find where they are, and then the very first call or approach is we have this awesome product that make your life easier. So let's talk. It's not gonna be more than 15 minutes. They normally say yes because they are not in such a rush like restaurants. Restaurants are operating, having customers 24/7. Well, not 24/7, but like almost all day long. Suppliers are different because suppliers during the day, in the morning, they are delivering their orders, but then they do office work normally after half day. So this is the time where we can connect with them, where we can talk to them. If it's possible, we do in-person sessions. If it's possible, we do remote sessions, whatever is possible and easier for them. And discovery calls are good because you understand really what they're struggling with. So we have two different use cases for new Alima in the suppliers space. One, it's the person or the customer persona who wants to sell more and uses us as a platform to sell more through the online store, through the campaigns we can build together. And then the other use case is you have suppliers that are struggling with admin stuff. So for them, we have all the invoicing system that is automated. We have payments conciliation, which normally are handled by accounting teams very manually. So we have all that in the platform in the SaaS. So the discovery call is for that, to connect and to generate this trust, because you cannot just go and sell your product. That's what I think. Probably there's people who can do this. You cannot just go and say, oh, these are all the features we have, blah, 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 before knowing what side is this customer persona. Is this person struggling with sales? Is this person struggling with admin stuff? So that's why you need to understand where's their pain, and then you go with your sales pitch on, okay, then I have this solution or I have this other solution. So I think that's the way we generate trust. And then the onboarding is super important because we're talking about not super tech savvy people. They know the basic stuff, but some of them don't know how to use Google Sheets. Some of them don't know how to create users in their platform. So all this training and onboarding period is very, very important for us to keep generating that trust. And then once they are graduated, as we call, okay, how we can do like monthly touch with them, so we can make sure everything is okay. They are using the platform. They don't have struggles, because if you just leave them on their own forever, they can continue using your product. But if there's something wrong, how you're gonna know? There's such a thing that it's called silent sufferers, who is people that just stop using your product, but they never said anything. They just left. Right? There's these other complainers who are calling your customer service like, hey, I have this problem. But sometimes you have silent sufferers. So if you don't do your best to proactively go, and this is even from my roots at Uber, even this big company in LATAM, the team I manage, we used to proactively call clients to understand how they were using the product, how we could help them to use it more, and this type of thing. So at the end, not it's something that can't scale. You can find ways to keep it consistently through all the stages in your company, I think. So I love this topic about generating trust with customers.
And with that, we have come to the end of our episode. We'll be back with more delightful anecdotes, crisp insights, and invaluable advice. So thank you for tuning in. We release our episodes on all podcast-friendly platforms on Wednesdays and Saturdays. I look forward to catching up with you guys at the next one. So alright, this is where we phone it in, metaphorically speaking, of course. Don't forget to subscribe to us for more updates and tidbits about our episodes. You can catch more content around the episodes, such as behind the scenes and bloopers, by following us in the links placed somewhere around here. So, ciao.